Hey, good morning, everybody. We are on our way down here to cabin 1, and I wanted to bring you guys kind of up to speed a little bit on what's been going on after today's a Thursday, so it's been 4 or 5 days since I've talked to you, but go figure, we haven't stopped working. And yeah, I just want to bring you guys up to speed and show you what the plan is for today now that things are back somewhat under control. Okay, so last thing I believe I talked to you guys about was the pulling the wire and the cable for power to the cabins. Okay, so cabin 1 is completely hooked up, so I've got power inside the cabin now. And if you look close, maybe you can tell there's no more bags of insulation down here on the floor. Well, there are some. That's what's left over. Because insulation and final roof, or I should say ceiling, here within the cabin. So putting this stuff up here takes a little bit of time. It's a little bit intricate a little bit, just with the tongue and groove and kind of with some of the intricacies of the wood and things like that. And of course, nothing is ever square, so I've been having to kind of manipulate it a little bit, but as with a lot of this stuff, you're never going to notice it. So insulation, this is 2x8. I already talked about the insulation before. This is all mineral wool, and it is holding up there just fine. You can see I don't even have any of the cross holding pieces in there, but it fills that cavity just perfectly. So I even got in there above the in the little storage area up there. It worked out well. And yeah, so this took a couple days to get done, but obviously this isn't it. I as well had in here some R23 stuff that was for under the cabin, and lo and behold, we've got insulation under the cabin as well. So now I just need to get a vapor barrier put up here, and then some plywood. I'm going to seal this up with just some CDX plywood. So it was a little tricky once you got back towards the electrical, or I should say the plumbing and the water and stuff, but that's, but it went in the rest of this area up here very easily, actually. And you can still see here again that there is it's holding up in there just fine. I'm not saying if I just left it here 5 years from now, it'd still be there, but for right now, while I'm working on it, it's holding up great. Back inside here, I just want to explain to you why I kind of stopped here at this section here. This is just about halfway. I've got a opening there for the ceiling fan, and then really along this line here, there's going to be, like little pancake lights and stuff like that for the room. So, but down here along this wall, I don't have up my sheeting yet that goes along there. I have to thin down some boards. I have to plane them, because these are just about maybe a little less than 3/4, so they're a little thinner, and I just need to plane them down and get them installed. I do have some issues I have to work around here, again, just because they're rough sawn lumber. Not everything is flush, so I have to get crafty with some of the stuff I'm doing. So nothing is gonna take away from the structural integrity of the building. It's just, because this is more finished carpentry type stuff, it is a little more particular. So that's kind of why I stopped there the other day and, have moved on to some other things. All that being done there with cabin 1, I have not done the same things up here to cabin 3. In fact, you can still see the insulation there inside there. And, that's just going to come in time. Again, the insulation, everything went up relatively quickly. Wasn't really, I can't think of an issue that I had with it. The stuff is easy to handle, easy to cut. It's no problem. But Definitely still have to wear a mask and some glasses. My eyes have been bothering me for about 3 days now from that stuff. So, yeah, well, it is what it is. So we're moving on. We're up here at the top of the hill. And we're going to start doing some milling today. I want to get this oak out of the driveway and onto the drying rack. And yeah, everything up here with the stuff that the oak that I had milled previously, it's going great. Going great, and it smells fantastic up here. So I've got plenty of space under this first tarp here where I'm going to put some of this. And then, yeah, we'll let that sit there and dry, and we'll take an evaluation on where we want to go from there as far as, you know, keep moving forward. So let's get into this milling. Okay, the first log that is on, about to head up the rack here, is short. It's about 7'7" as it sits right here. So again, if you cleaned up the ends and stuff, you're going to lose even more of that. So, and this was the highest one on from the tree that I had dropped. So I have sawn off a little bit of the split that was there. There was a crotch there, and it really doesn't look too bad. So my plan for this first log is to make some 2x material. I know a while ago I cut some 2x material for steps, and that wood was not very good. So my plan here is to just cut a bunch of 2x material and use this for stairs. We're gonna let this obviously dry out and, you know, just kind of see how it turns out. There's no reason why it won't be, you know, successful. Log looks pretty good. This is, strangely enough, this is the worst one of the bunch. Just a little bit of rot right there, and they only really get better from there. A little from there, and then it really gets nice as you go further down the tree, which is really something, because when I cut this tree down, I actually had to cut above some rot, and I thought, wow, how far is that rot gonna go up the tree? And by the time I made my face cut, dropped the tree, and then cut off my 6 or 8 inches off the bottom to square up the bottom, the rot was almost gone. So I was super excited to see this, and I hopefully will get, you know, some good material out of this. Again, this is all going to be flooring. So a bunch of 1x6s. All right, let's get it going. So first off, up here at the mill, if you remember a while ago when I was getting that really huge oak out of the woods, I snapped a cable. So I had to continually switch the hand winch from my stand here and then the log arch. So I went ahead and just ordered a replacement strap for it. I went with a strap here. It's rated pretty well. I can't remember what this is rated for, but hauling these logs up the ramp doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. So I just went with a strap here. It was a cheaper option. I mean, only a couple bucks, but that means I didn't have to replace the whole winch, you know, and, you know, that is what it is. So also, what I was working on this week was fixing my mill. If you recall, let's see, let me get down here. The bottom of the legs, this part here had, or I should say this leg part here, had been driven down over these bolts down here on the bottom and thrown my mill out of level. Okay, so what I went and have done, I went ahead and put in I cut up some of that steel flat stock I had, it's 3/16, and put it through and under this leg here to help provide it with more support. Okay, besides, you know, doing that to each one, these ones that have the rusty metal primer on it, let me give you a better look here and kind of explain what I did. So I have a 4-foot extension on my mill, so I can do a 16-foot I'm sorry, I have a 4-foot extension on my mill, so I can do a 16-foot log if I wanted to. So that means I have 12 legs under the mill. So this is a bunk, this orange part that goes across. So these bunks, I guess in sequential order, number 1 would be up here. This is number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Bunks number 2, 3, and 4 were all smashed down from that big oak. So there's 6 legs under those 3 bunks. So I literally just swapped them. I told you about that before. I was going to rob Peter to pay Paul. So from bunks 5 and 6, and then number 1 as well, all those now are where the bent legs are. And the unbent legs were now brought up to bunks 2, 3, and 4. So, and they all have those plates underneath them. So they were certainly going to provide more support. Now, I had also told you that I had reached out to Norwood to see what their recommendation would be if they had a better built product, or kind of what they would say. Basically, they told me they don't have a more robust leg. They said I could upgrade and go to a trailer package, which this thing is bolted to this concrete and it's not going anywhere, so that's not an option. And they basically went on to explain what happened, which I didn't really need any explanation. I mean, I knew what happened. And they, basically I went over the capacity of the mill weight-wise. And it was, I should say, maybe not weight-wise, it was in fact that it was drop weight as I was turning the cant, and that slamming of that big oak down onto the bunks was too much pressure on those parts and they bent. So, I mean, I guess ideally if I had a tractor, I could, lift the cant and flip it like on the ground, I guess. But, obviously in my case, that's not an option. So that being said, from Norwood, they also said in explaining what happened and how to avoid it and stuff like that, they're going to send me a set of 10 legs. So that's great. That's great. It is funny that is really the cheapest accessory that they sell. I think a set of 10 legs is only about $80 from them, whereas some of the other stuff, you think, how is it that expensive? Let me give you a good example and show you another thing that I did to the mill that is going to help me along the way. If you recall, in amongst all my rambling and everything, from bunks number 2, 3, and 4, if I have an 8-foot log, it's usually about 8'6" or so, rough cut, that it really needs to be positioned very centered. It really has to be centered on these bunks in order for it to hit the log stop that was here. You can see that one there, and then the log stop that was down here. So what would happen as I would roll the log up onto the mill, there were times where it would miss this log stop that's back here and almost roll off the back because it was hitting this log stop here and just kind of pivot. So as you can tell, what I have done, I've moved a log stop from here up to here. Okay, so it's really a simple plug and play bolt-on operation. So it just really takes 4 bolts. There's 1, 2 here, and then 2 on the other side. So I moved it up. So I won't have to worry about that rolling over. But that being said, having these log stops so close together doesn't really provide me with the best support when I'm using the log holder here to hold in a log. It's kind of tough to explain. So what I've done, since this is really kind of temporary use, I went ahead and ordered another set of this log stop. So in my rant of, oh my God, things are expensive. So 3 pieces here, this bracket here, this pipe, and then this handle. It's about $280. So you know, it is a slightly thicker piece of steel, it looks like, but, you know, with shipping and all that, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's just one of those things. So anyway, not complaining about that. It's just one of those things where you're like, golly, you know, 3 little pieces like that, but that's how it is. So we're moving on. So I'm going to mount it right there. So I'm going to have log stops at bunks 2, 3, and 4. And that will, I think all my worries about rolling stuff off the back will be eased. So we'll put this new strap to work here. We'll get the log up here on the rack and we'll get to moving. Well, I just want to show you the final product here of these boards. You probably saw when I had the log up on the mill, it had a pretty good bend in it. So I tried to do my best to maximize the product coming out of it. But the larger slab cuts that come off, they will end up in the fireplace. So it's not a total loss. But this is them. Not too many. You know, it's not perfect. There are some little rot holes. There are a couple bug holes and stuff. So I left these 1.5 inches thick by 8 inches wide. So it's going to give me some options. I can still kind of trim these down a little bit if I want 6-inch wide boards, or you know, just leave them here at 8 feet. So it's definitely some options with these. But they look great. I think they'll do just fine. We got to dry them out and see what the end product is. I definitely think these will end up on some stairs somewhere. So, but yeah, let's move on. Let's get this stacked up, get moved on to some of these other logs over here. Hey gang, middle of the afternoon here, and I'm on the second log in my pile here, and I just gotta tell you, my struggles with this oak continue. This is I don't know if this is going to show up well. Depth doesn't really kind of show up on camera, but I mean, that is a massive hole here in the middle, and you can see down along just about down along the whole way here, it's got little bits of rot through it and stuff. I'm hoping, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to cut the boards, and then you know, we'll kind of go from there. But just I don't know. I don't know if it seems like every oak tree I get into is like this, and I was really kind of hoping this was going to be a little better. So I mean, the next 3 look great, but this on the end of it, I was certainly, you know, not expecting it. This looks great on both ends, and obviously this just was a limb or something that broke off at some point, much like this right here, where it just starts to, you know, it allows water to get inside and then just starts to eat it away. But that is, golly. Well, we'll keep plugging away here. If anything crazy happens, I'll let you know. All right, guys, coming towards the end of the day here, I want to show you where I'm going to leave it for the day. This is the 3rd log from the pile over here. So I only have 2 left that are uncut, and there they sit. So I want to leave myself a little bit of hope for tomorrow. As bad as that second log was, and as much as ended up there over there on the burn pile, it was just not you know, not a quality log for sure. This, I mean, it's frustrating to see little imperfections inside, you know, these things, but to be honest with you, if it's smaller than a fist, I'll take it. I'll take it as a win. I mean, that's a hole here. I don't know how bad or how deep that's going to go, but I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to think that every oak log is like this, and yeah, it's just, you know, but all in all, this one is, you know, 99% better than that last one I just had up on there. And I already got some wide boards off of it to getting the cant down. This is 12 by 12 right now. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not, but so I got some wide boards off of it. We'll be able to mill those down a little bit. You can see the first couple cuts on it were absolutely fantastic. I was really excited, thinking that you know, this might come off without a hitch and just be one beautiful log, but well, we'll have to wait on the last 2. So I'm still bucking up these slab cuts and putting them on my firewood pile. There's plenty of wood there to burn, and you know, the oak is what we like to burn. So all right, guys, just to total this, what's been done today so far, you can see under that, maybe the front one here, that one there, there's 43 new boards under there, and that's what I got out of those first 2 logs today. Now, not to say that every inch of those 42 logs are going to be used, but there's 42 or 43 over there drying. So, you know, I have a feeling that this floor is going to be kind of piecemealed together with maybe 2 foot and 3 foot lengths of 6-inch wide boards, just because of the lack of quality long boards. I'm sure I will use some. You know, they're full length of 8 feet, but you know, I got a lot of flooring to put down, so it's, you know, I'm going to do the best I can with it. So 43 over there, and then I've got this 12 by 12 cant, so you know, that's going to be 24 more if everything works out well, that, you know, I'll be able to dry them. We'll know more obviously once we get in it tomorrow. And plus these over here, so probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 boards will come out of this log here, and then hopefully about the same out of those last 2 there. So it'll be quite a good number of boards, but you know, again, the quality isn't the best, so we're going to do the best we can. So all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Hey, I appreciate you clicking along with me. Let me know if you liked. I'm doing less milling, you know, on the video and stuff. I guess I could continue to share that, but let me know in the comments if you think it's worth it to watch me push this thing back and forth, or do you just like me cutting in here and letting you know what's been going on. So I can adjust for sure. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on the next one.